Hello. This is just a quick review for Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen. It's the first one, and the second one's coming out in March, I think. But I've heard of this a long time ago. Obviously, it came out, I think it was 2010 or 2012, I can't remember. And it's been out for a good like 10 years now, 12 years. And I've never played it. I've only ever heard of it, but I've never got round to actually looking at it and seeing what it was about. Um, and I've got to be honest, I was really surprised at how well it played. Um, like with it being like nearly a decade or more than a decade old. The gameplay is great. Like the actual way it plays, the sound, the graphics aren't too bad for a game that's 10 years old. Um, and just like the mechanics of the game are quite good as well. The only thing I don't really like about it is the well, I suppose it's just until I get used to it, but the amount of options you've got, it's just a bit daunting to actually get your head around everything that is available to you at the beginning of the game. Obviously, the more you progress, you'll get used to it. But the game is huge and it's so deep. Like, there's loads of magic and loads of like things you can do to enhance your magic or enhance your combat or enhance like your fellow travelers. Like, they're called pawns on this. Um, like pawns on a chess board, I suppose. PAWNS. Um, and so you can control these pawns to help you fight and to heal you and stuff like that, and you actually get a chance to play with other people's pawns that they've played with, which is, I think, is a really good idea. I mean, they should do that in other games. They should implement that mechanic in like other games, like say Skyrim would really be advantageous to have somebody who's actually played through the game before, and then you can hire like their companion. And it's so in depth that, say, if I've played through the game before and then I've defeat that troll, that Cyclops thing at the beginning, and then you sort of download the pawn. When you go to fight the Cyclops, the pawn, because he's been through somebody else's playthrough, he knows how to defeat the Cyclops. Like, he'll know its weakness, he'll know like its strengths and stuff like that, which is a really good idea, and it puts so much more depth into the game as a first time player. Like I said, I'm a complete novice at this. I'm so shit at it. But it helps because the guy will say like, oh, they've got a weakness to fire, or the weak spot is if you hit it in the head or something like that. So you get like a little tip. And also they tell you which way to go, like the direction to go. Like, if we head this way, this will be the better way. Or if you're looking for something for a quest, it'll say like, check the rooftops and stuff like that. It'll give you clues, but without it being absolutely like blatant. So it doesn't really hold your hand. You do get quest markers on the map, but it's only if you highlight that quest. And another good thing is that people have like color-coded speech bubbles above the head. I think there's green, yellow, and red. And I think the red one, I forgot what they mean, but I think the red one is where that has something to do with the quest that you're on. And the yellow one is like a side quest, and I'm not sure what the green one is. But this is another good mechanic which they could use in other games. So if, especially like other games like Skyrim, because that's the only game I've played which is similar to this, where it's a huge RPG, massive open world, a million quests that you've got to do. You can like enhance your own weapons, and you take potions and all that shit. So there's lots of stuff similar, but this is, I don't know if I would say it's a better game. It's just different, but it's a good different. It's like a fresh take on an RPG game, and I believe it's like Japanese creator, and the way they've done it was they took elements from the Western RPGs and mixed it in with the Japanese RPG, so you're getting like the best of both worlds kind of thing. But as you can see, there's wolves, there's little goblins here, but the amount of creatures that you fight, it's great. There's like such a big variety of stuff, not to mention the huge monsters that you fight. And if you remember at the beginning of the video, you can jump and hang on to monsters. A bit like that Monster Hunter game, if you've ever played that, where you can like jump and climb up the monster and then attack its weak spot if it's like not its legs or whatever. Like, you know, you're fighting against something that's massive and you're just hacking into its kneecaps, you know. And on most games, that would be sufficient enough to take its health down. But unless you know its weakness, like fire or whatever, like your attacks are ineffective. So you have to look for the weak spot. You have to know how to kill each beast. They've all got their own strengths and weaknesses. Like I said, it's a really good tactic element to the game, which makes it more interesting for the player, because it's not just hack and slash like Skyrim where you can just hit them anywhere and it'll take the damage off. Whereas this makes you actually go into a fight and think about how you're actually going to defeat it, and makes you prepare for the fight in a different way, which is a really good mechanic. One mechanic I've just thought I don't like about this is when you're in the dark like that, it keeps telling you to use a lantern, and you've got to keep filling it up with oil, and the lantern only lasts for like a certain amount of time, and then you've got to keep filling up the lantern. So that's just another mechanic that you have to... It becomes annoying after a while, I've found. So a little tip, what I'd done is actually went into the settings and just put the brightness like 100%, so you can run around in the dark and you don't need to put your lantern on, because it just becomes annoying. But you can still use your lantern and it gives you a lot more illumination. And if you give your companions a lantern each, then obviously all three of you, however many you've got, everybody's got a lantern, so it illuminates things and you can see a bit further, especially when you're in caves and stuff like that. It is pitch black, like you can't see anything, so it helps. But even when you've got the brightness up 100%, you can still see where you're going, so you don't need to fuck around with the lantern and the oil, which is just a little tip that I've like discovered myself. And I had to watch some beginner guides, you know, like if on YouTube, that, because like I said, it's been out for 10 years, so there's loads of playthroughs, there's loads of tips and cheats and all this kind of shit. So I didn't want to delve into the like becoming too overpowered straight away, because it spoils it. I wanted to just play through at my own pace. In this like different vocations they're called, which are basically just different roles. Do you want to be an archer, a mage, like a strider, which is a guy who's got like daggers and a bow, or you can be like a warrior, which is like shield and a sword, or maybe like a two-handed weapon and stuff like that. So you can pick what class of person you want to be, and obviously you assign the different classes to your companion, because you're only allowed to create one companion. Like, you design it yourself, and then you come here, the Rift, and this is what I was talking about. These are other people's pawns that they've decided, like designed and decided what skills and stuff they've got. So then you can hire these companions to come and help you, and these have already got preset knowledge from whoever's played the game. So I'm sure if you look on YouTube, you can find who are the best companions, and this is why they're the best. But I just want to play through like standard, and I just want to have a go and just see how I get on, because the replayability on this game must be forever, because apparently there's like 75 to 100 hours worth of gameplay on this game, which is quite big for any game nowadays. So these like pawns, like I said, these are all other people's pawns that have already played through the game, and there you can enlist them, or you can find out the details about them. This one's a mage. So, but like I said, you get to design your own character. So I've designed my character, and it's a mage. So I didn't want a mage. So I wanted somebody else with a sword and a shield, and I wanted somebody with a bow and arrow. So we've got a bit of everything. And when you change your vocation, I think later on you get a chance to change your vocation, like the role. So if you have like been playing as a warrior or whatever, and you've leveled up to say level 100, and then you can change your vocation and you can start playing as a mage, but you'll keep all the stats from the warrior. They'll not transfer over, but your warrior powers and I think they're called augments or something. Like all the skills basically that you've learned up until that point you keep, but just in that class. So if you change class, you're going to be starting from the beginning basically, but you still have all the stuff that's available to you at level 100, if that makes sense. And like I said, it's quite deep, and as a total novice, it's a bit much to get your head around at first, and you think, oh my god, I can't be bothered. There's so much to bring in and so much to read, and you can listen to them talk, but you can also skip through the conversation if you get bored, and you can skip the cutscenes as well, I think. But you just need to basically go in there with an open mind, and you need to think. This is like it's like starting a long book, a novel, or like watching a trilogy movies, say Lord of the Rings. If you're not into fantasy or something and you think I'll give it a try, you might put it on and think I can't remember anybody's name, I don't know what they're talking about, but the more times you watch it, it all starts making sense, and then you start really liking it. So it's that kind of thing. You've just got to give it time, because I've got no patience whatsoever, so I get frustrated when I've got to, like, if it takes too long, so I end up skipping through shit I should be listening to. But I haven't done this yet on this, because it's quite interesting. And like I said, there's loads of tips and tricks online if you want to have a look at a beginner's guide. I watched about 3 or 4 just to find out, is there any kind of tips or shit I need to know so I'm not going in totally blind. And I think at the beginning of one of the games, at the beginning of when you start, it's only if it's the Dark Arisen version. If you've just got normal Dragon's Dogma, I don't think you get this. But you see that armor the guy's wearing on his arm? You get that. That's what my character's wearing, if you can see. And like all this armor that I've got on is basically stuff you get at the beginning of the game. I did buy some off the vendor, because you get a monocle, just a one eye piece of like a pair of glasses. You get like the monocle, and it sells at the shop for 312,000 gold. So if you just like flog that at the beginning, then you've got basically 300 grand, and you can buy armor and new weapons and any consumables that you might need. And it gives you a good little start without having to grind the game like hell at the very beginning. So that's like a little tip there that I picked up from one of the beginner's guides. But like I said, I didn't want to explore too much into like, here's how you get all the most powerfulest weapons first, here's how you get the most powerfulest armor and shit like that. I think that spoils it. But there you can give your pawns commands, so you can either tell them to come and help you, if you're fighting and you're getting done in, or you can like tell them to go, so they'll head wherever you're basically looking, and they'll just run towards wherever you say, or you can tell them to like come here, so they'll come back to you. Just simple. There's only 3 commands, but still, it's another mechanic in the game which they've put in. But yeah, it's just like a massive game. That you see the neighborhood at the top, area, and then Granzis. That's the actual like area. So you can look at the local map, the most wide map, and then the complete full map. And the map is huge. Like, it's absolutely gigantic. And it, like I said, it doesn't really give you any kind of pointers on where to go. So you're better off just exploring and just taking your time and actually walk from point to point. That's another thing. You've got a stamina bar, and your stamina runs out, the orange bar. While you're running around the town, it's like it doesn't deplete. But as soon as you leave the town and you start running like this, then it runs out quite quickly. But I do know that you can get different skills and augmentations that help like conserve your stamina and shit like that. So you'll get one skill that says that you'll only use 50% stamina. It goes down like 50% slower, that kind of thing. So it's all about picking the kind of skills that'll suit your gameplay. Also, there's ones where when you're hanging on to like a beast, your stamina goes down then as well. So you can get ones where you'll hold on for longer, or if the beast tries to shake you off, you're not going to go flying off. You can like hang on for longer and shit like that. So there is like little tricks and tips like that, because obviously people who have played the game before, they know which are the best ones to get and which ones will help you. And you can get ones that make you like immune to certain types of magic and certain attacks and stuff like that. So if you've got like something combined with something else, it means you're totally impervious to magic, so you don't have to worry about that. You know, it's that kind of thing. So once you know the ins and outs of the game, then you do obviously become more invulnerable to attacks, because at first you're soft as shite and you just keep getting killed. I haven't died yet, but I know that you do get killed a lot, especially if you venture into an area where you're not really at the right level, and you'll just get your ass kicked straight away. But this is another example of like a big beast. This is right at the very beginning of the game. So like you can see I'm just hitting it in the body here, and if you look at its health, it's hardly going down at all, because you've got to hit it in the head, you know. And so once you've hit it in the head, then that's when the health goes down a bit. So you can see you can jump in R2. I've got the buttons on the screen there for you. So you can jump in R2. See how I'm getting my breath back, because my orange bar underneath my health has ran out. So that's a thing, you've got to keep an eye on your stamina. And because I've just started the game, my stamina's bullshit, so it runs out straight away. And I'm not really sure what those pink dots are underneath the health bar of the beast. I think that's how many times the health bar needs to be depleted, maybe. You know, like you'll take the health bar down and then it loses one of those dots. I think. I'm not really sure yet. But have a look in the options when you start, and you can like customize near enough everything about it. But just see how your companions also have different skill sets, so they'll actually like climb and attack it in the right place without you having to tell them or anything like that. And also I've just unlocked an ability where I can use my shield as like a leaping, jumping off point. So my companion will like jump onto my shield and I throw him up high into the air, so you can like catapult your companion to a higher place. So if the monster's really tall like this, you can actually catapult him up, so he gives him like a big boost up. You don't have to wait for him to actually climb up. It's just like I said, the game is massive and it's really deep, and it's really good for being 10 or nearly 12 years old now. It's amazing, I think, for the time. I just wish I had discovered it earlier, because I would have had fun playing this 10 years ago. If you think, I think it came out in 2013, so that was the same time Grand Theft 5 came out for the PS4. So if you can remember when that was, that's how long ago it was. It was a good 10 years. So I wish I had discovered this then. But like I said, it's just takes a little bit of getting used to. So because it's so hard, like don't let that discourage you. You've got to stick at it, and like the more you play it, the better you'll become, and the more powered you'll become. So then you take down the beasts a lot quicker. You can get magic on your items as well. So like you can have like that's the leapfrog thing, you know, where I'm using my shield to boost the companion up in the air like that. So you can help them jump higher, but you've got to aim it properly and all that. But you can get like a sword with magic fire, so then your blade is like wreathed in fire. So like goblins especially have got like an aversion to fire, so they'll die quicker. And like I said on the beginning, when you watch the beginner's guides, it tells you that which magics are the best, because the majority of animals are weak to this magic and this magic. So you'll come to a big monster like this, and you'll only hit it with a few attacks, and you'll be devastating its health bar. Whereas I think you start off with like a rusty sword and a rusty shield, and apparently, if you like upgrade them to like, because there's like a star system, and I think if you get it up to 3 stars on the rusty sword and the rusty shield, then because the rusty they also have like a poisonous element, so it deals extra damage because the rusty sword's now poisonous because you've upgraded it, but it's still rusty. So don't sell it when you first start the game. You'll be tempted to, because if you sell the monocle, you'll have 300 grand. So you'll think, fuck that, I'll just sell the shit stuff and I'll buy the new stuff, because it does have better shit stats at the beginning, and you're looking at swords to buy and you think, well, this sword's better. But if you upgrade your sword, and you've got to look for consumables, like you need certain things to upgrade weapons. You might need like 5 plants and 5 something else in order to upgrade it. So just collect everything and just upgrade it when you can, but keep a hold of the rusty weapons, apparently, according to the beginner's guide. But yeah, it's like I said, it's just one of those games where you think, oh my god, I've bitten off far too much here. I don't know how to do this, but if you just persevere, and you will start enjoying it. And like I said, it's absolutely a massive game, big adventure game. So that's it basically. So I would definitely get it. I mean, I picked it up off eBay for a tenner on disc. I'm actually playing it on disc, and it's 20 quid in the store. So if you want it digital, it's 20 quid. But if you like the look of it, go and get it any way you can and just start cracking on with it. That's it. See you later.